This weekend was a bit of a rough weekend for our Xbox brothers and sisters, primarily spurned on from the fact that Halo is coming to the PlayStation 5. I saw many of crash outs happening on the timeline and in YouTube videos. Such Xbox staples as Kid Smooth pledging to go down with the ship and not my Xbox and not my Halo. Very riveting content over there. Colt Eastwood, the king of Xbox stuff, actually uploaded a PlayStation 6 related video this morning. It hasn't been going very well over there, but I am the king of Xbox YouTube now, and I'm here to talk about the latest and greatest because a report just went out this morning, and boy, oh boy, do I have some things to say about it. This evidently is a deeper dive into the upcoming Xbox console, all of the features that it will have, some of the cool things that it will have as well. And I feel like there's something that potentially a lot of people are overlooking with this. So if this is your first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like the video, leave a comment. It helps with algorithms. And I'm the person that should be in the Xbox algorithm because I'm the king of Xbox YouTube. Windows Central, our good friend Jez Corden, put out this article this morning talking about Xbox's new console and all of the cool stuff it will do. And I just have a few questions about this article and some of the things that are being reported within this article. Microsoft's ambitious new Xbox, your entire Xbox console library, the full power of Windows PC gaming, and no multiplayer paywall. The new Xbox platform is said to be a premium experience, and now we have some details on what it'll look like. Of course, the premium experience thing comes to us from a recent interview with Sarah Bond, saying that this is a premium platform, curated stuff, gonna be very high-end sort of stuff going into this console, which all that says to me is this thing is going to be expensive. I'm actually expecting over $1,200 with this console PC hybrid that Xbox is allegedly doing for their next platform, and I don't think that's outside of the realm of possibility. It all kind of comes down to what are the specs of the system? You know, what does it have in terms of, you know, what you can get on a PC or something like that. It seems like PlayStation with the PlayStation 6 from the initial reports isn't really going for a huge technological leap, but Xbox themselves have said that this is the biggest technological leap ever in video game consoles, and obviously that's going to come at a premium price point, considering that Xbox is raising prices of pretty much everything. Game Pass, they wanted to do games, they've already done consoles and stuff like that. But scrolling down through this article, which I will link to in the description box down below, no gaming platform in history has been declared dead as many times as Xbox, yet live it still does. Microsoft earned itself plenty of the condemnation when he put the clickbaitery aside. You know, you got to gaslight people when you're reading your article. You think Xbox is in a bad position? Well, you're wrong, pal. All these people, all this information that's out there, no, it's all good. It's all fine. We want those 30% profit margins. We think it's good to raise the price of Game Pass. We think it's good to raise the price of the consoles twice. Of course, there's a bunch of just gaslighting here. You know, you've got to gaslight the audience, and you know, oh, the Xbox Ally X PC gaming handheld is sold out in many core markets. How many did they make? Combined with public statement from our sources, the form the next Xbox is starting to take is starting to take shape. Here's what you need to know and prepare for in the upcoming years. So the Xbox is going to be complete Windows sort of curated PC Windows experience, complete with your native console library. So this is some of the information that is coming to us here. You know, it's basically going to be, you know, what Phil Spencer said, and there are good points to that. Like, I'm not saying this is like a disastrous idea or anything like that. It's more so the execution, because as the Xbox Ally stands right now, it is primarily a handheld PC with some Xbox functionality. You know, it's not an Xbox that's a PC. It is a PC that is an Xbox. And when you start to talk about things like Windows gaming PC, one of the things about Windows gaming and just Windows in general is, of course, the additional bloat that you get from this system. You know, Windows operating system comes with a ton of unnecessary things that nobody needs and nobody really wants, but it comes with it. And then you have to know in order to remove those things, some of which are not removable. And Windows is constantly changing, constantly evolving, and sometimes not for the better. So if you have a lot of resources tied up into this system because of Windows, that doesn't really, you know, strike me as something positive. Complete with your native console library. Well, what does that mean? You know, because one of the things that I find very interesting is that, you know, they say, oh, well, it's going to feel like a traditional Xbox console out of the box. The onboarding experience is similar to what you get today on console. And if you choose, you can remain fully inside the Xbox ecosystem, never touching Windows itself. Exiting out to Windows will be those who want to access games traditionally not available, including PlayStation games on Steam, mouse and keyboard games, even classic games like GOG and the like. But then you kind of run into the problems that I'm talking about here. And I want to get back to the other thing that I was saying, but I do think this is a good pivoting point here, because if it is just a one-to-one replication with the option to go into Windows, why are PC gamers going to want that when they already have Windows and they have GOG and they have Steam already on there? Why are console gamers going to want to buy this premium platform if they're not going to utilize the things that they can already utilize that are available right now? Console gamers have PCs. Like, you're probably watching this either on a mobile device or a PC. It's not like I'm on a PC right now. I have multiple PCs in my house, yet I still prefer console gaming because of the ease of setup and just, you know, jumping straight into it. I don't think that offering a really expensive system that can also do other things, but you still got to navigate to them. Like, I know it doesn't sound like a big deal to you or I, but you have to look at it from the casual gaming perspective. You know, for someone like me, like, yeah, I'll dip my toe in it, but do I need like a mouse and keyboard at my behest in order to do this? And if so, why am I not just putting a PC underneath my television? You know, put a light build of Windows on there, and you could do exactly what you're doing now for probably a fraction of the price. You know, sync up your controller. Like, I have mini PCs under my TV that I use for emulation, but if I wanted to, I could still play some newer games. Obviously not the latest and greatest, but I find it interesting that there seems to be a strong thing about, you know, backwards compatibility and, you know, continuing your stuff and your library of games. Is this going to have a disk drive? Because that's something that has not been said at all. And I don't think we're quite far enough away from the era of completely removing physical media. You know, I think we're still a generation or two away. But when you look at what Xbox is doing, most of their first party games that come out on Xbox do not get physical releases. Why is that? Because I guess they figure that most people just buy them digitally or play them with Game Pass. But if this doesn't have a physical drive, how is it going to play my entire Xbox library? Are we talking about a digital library? Are we talking about just digital libraries? Because if so, I do think that kind of slims down, you know, what you're actually talking about here. Many games have been delisted from Xbox that have physical releases. Games like Forza Motorsport 7. You know, that was a game that I actually had to buy physically because it had been removed off of Game Pass. But if the game is not available on Game Pass and I can't buy the game digitally and I can't use my disc for, you see what I'm saying here? Like licensing and stuff, I'm just asking questions. That means all OG Xbox backward compatible games, all the Xbox 360 backwards compatible games, all the Xbox One compatible games, and all the current and future Xbox Series X and S games. Yeah, but is that digital only? Because that does limit things. Like, oh, God. And then, of course, you know, what happens in the Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass in this scenario? How much will all this cost? Because it's going to cost money. Money. You already, PC Game Pass people already play less or pay less than what Xbox people do. PC people play multiplayer for free. If you're on an Xbox console, you do not. Right now, I'm told that the current plan is for the next Xbox specifically to have no paywall for multiplayer. It wouldn't make a lick of sense for a PC to have paid multiplayer, particularly since it would create a strong incentive for players to simply install Steam instead of using the Xbox ecosystem. What I expect we could see is that PC Game Pass being rebranded somehow. On the Xbox Game Pass website, PC Game Pass is de-emphasized and almost hidden away underneath the three main tiers. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this go away in the future, given that Xbox Game Pass Standard and Premium both now include some PC games. The idea of per-device Game Pass doesn't make a huge amount of sense in a universe where Xbox consoles and PC merge, but we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. And then, of course, we get into the whole sort of thing. You know, I'm pretty sure it's 20% on Steam, but I'm not 100% sure on that. You know, talking about the price of the system. Like, here are the red flags with this. If you're getting rid of paid multiplayer, then Xbox and Microsoft are going to want to make up for that somewhere else on the console. Point blank, period. We are in the era of 30% profit margins with Xbox when it comes to everything across the board. So you're going to have to make up for that somewhere. If you are getting rid of paying to play multiplayer stuff, then your Game Pass subscription price is indeed going to go up. If you get rid of PC Game Pass, you're going to make people that don't want this device, that only want to play on PC and want to stay on their PC, you're going to make them very annoyed with you, and then they're not going to want to buy this device. The console side of Game Pass is going to get another price increase on this already more expensive console. Do you go back and retroact the Xbox Series X and S to have free multiplayer? Because I assume that you're not just going to completely cut those systems off. You still have games coming out for them. There's going to be some cross-generational stuff, right? Or is it just the end of what you're doing on a traditional console? Like, to me, I feel like this almost reads like a bullet point dream list and doesn't take into account some of the questions that I have. You know, is there physical media? If we are getting rid of the price point to play multiplayer stuff, what does that mean about Game Pass? If you're getting rid of PC Game Pass or rebranding it, and then that to me sounds like we're going to get yet another price increase for Game Pass, which is already starting to creep up substantially in price. And then the biggest problem we still have is, you know, brand recognition with Xbox right now. I just don't see, especially price point wise, if we're talking over $1,200, like I'm expecting this to be as a premium device, and you're wanting to essentially be a pre-built PC that I'm going to assume you can't really update, it just seems like it's trying to be everything to everyone, but at the end of the day, it's not really going to appeal to a wide enough audience to where this is going to be successful. You know, and I know what you're saying. Well, you said Xbox was dead, RIP Xbox. Yeah, from a console perspective, they still are one of the biggest, if not the biggest publisher in games right now. Just focus on that. Focus on publishing your games. You have games and IPs and companies and franchises that people are going to buy on other platforms. You don't need to have your own platform anymore. You have decided to go the software route. I think it's better to lean into that, because then you can talk about your 30% profit margins. But when you're trying to be a cheap system and, Game Pass is the best value in gaming, but we also need all this money too, because we got to make up for, these huge acquisitions and stuff like that. So you can also buy our games on PlayStation and Nintendo Switch too. It's like you're spreading yourself too thin with this. I'm very curious to see, when this system gets unveiled, the honest reaction from people, because now essentially Xbox has created this world where, most of their diehard fans are gone. I'm talking about the Xbots, like the people that lived and breathed Xbox. And, that's the only thing they talked about on their channels. That's the only reason they woke up in the morning. They went to the luncheons with Microsoft and Xbox executives. They would go out to the events. Most of those people are now gone. There's still a few shills left, but most of them are now gone. So there's going to be a very different conversation surrounding this system, because now you no longer have the PR of people that are ride or die for you. Now you're going to get a more honest look at things, and I just don't know how this is going to play out. Like I said, this is a Windows Central article from Jez Corden. So, I guess take it with a grain of salt. Take it as fact. Brett, my editor, really loves Jez. He says he's always right about stuff, and I'm like, okay. But let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think about all this? What do you think about the new information? Do you sort of share the same questions I do? Is there going to be a physical component to it? How are you getting rid of free multiplayer but still wanting to extract as much money out of people? Does that mean Game Pass is getting a price increase? And if this is a premium device, what sort of premium price point are we looking at with this? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, be sure to comment, be sure to share. This week is actually kind of busy for me as well. Last week was kind of an unexpected busy week. This week, there's a birthday party tonight that I am attending. Tomorrow, I have a doctor's appointment. And Saturday, I will not be on the Spawncast, as I will be at a Halloween party. I do leave the house. Like, I got stuff to do. I just don't really talk about it all that much. So I don't really know how the schedule is looking. There might not be a video up tomorrow morning unless I wake up early or find something I want to talk about tonight and make it for tomorrow, but we'll see. I just wanted to update you guys. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.